I've been leasing properties for over 8 years, and many of my first few years I would get so frustrated because I connected with clients with rapport but couldn't close on leasing them a property. But when I started implementing this one question into my sales process, my income went from $94,000 per year to over $275,000 per year. And in this video, I will teach you how to ask this ingenious question so that you can skyrocket your closing rate, find better tenants, and avoid wasting time with unqualified prospects. Before I get into this ingenious question that changed everything, I want to share what I thought was really working, but actually hurting my sales flow. And that thing that almost every person in sales does and has been taught to do is to create rapport. And like many outgoing salespeople, we can create rapport with almost anyone. I was able to talk about the weather or a sports team. If a prospect had a Warriors shirt on, I was like, oh yeah, they had a great game last night. I would talk about the weather and whether it's going to get better or worse in this upcoming week. If they had a band t-shirt on, I would comment on my favorite song I heard or an upcoming concert I heard about. And I need to pause for 1 second and say that building rapport is not a bad thing to do. In fact, it is still needed no matter what. And the reasoning behind building rapport is to connect with the prospect and eventually build trust. But what I was doing in the past was leading prospects down the wrong path. I was leading them down a path that, let's be friends and connect over sports, and I hope you lease this property. What do sports, bands, or weather have to do with this property I'm trying to lease? Nothing really. And it was my fault because I was the one starting the conversation on the wrong path. And even more, this led me to so much more frustration because I had connected with the clients, but they would never truly tell me what they were looking for in a property because they didn't trust me and think I could help them find the right property. So as I started to invest heavily in learning more sales skills, I finally learned that this one question, if you ask this in the beginning of the conversation, not only is it going to help you guide your prospect down the correct path to where you want to take the sales process, but it's going to help your client get there too. Let me explain. Also, this question is going to help you find better tenants because you're going to know a little bit more about the person before they even move in. So you're asking, what is this question? It's so ingenious. I wish I would have known about it years ago, but as they say, you don't know what you don't know. So once I started implementing this question, again, it changed everything for me. So here is how the question works. Someone calls you on the phone and they saw you're listing for the property. They call you up and they say, hey, is this property still available? And then what you'll be like is generally curious, like, oh yeah, I think so. Give me a minute while I pull up the info. So you're pulling up the info on the property, letting it load on your computer or your phone, and then you say this while it's loading. Hey, just out of curiosity, what caught your eye from the listing about the property? Or what did you see in the ad that piqued your interest? Make it very specific, make it sound authentic and curious, and then they're going to say something like, oh, yeah, well, I saw it was on the ground floor, and I really need something on the first floor because I have bad knees, and it just looked like something that could fit. And then you validate what they're saying with, oh, yes, it is on the ground floor. And then you ask a follow-up question. Was there anything else about the property that you liked? And they'll say something like, oh yeah, I really wanted a bathtub because I love taking a soak every night. And then you'll be like, okay, great. You know what? This is on the first floor. It does have a couple steps in the building. Is that going to be okay? And then they're going to say yes, or they're going to say no. If they say no, then you saved yourself a lot of time and you saved your client a lot of time as well. And then maybe you can make a recommendation for another property. If they said yes, then okay, great, let's schedule a viewing. So now we're on the right path to get the client their desired result instead of taking them down the typical path of trying to connect over small talk and hoping that they take what I'm offering. Now I did promise that this one question helped me drastically take my income to over $275,000 a year. But it is just one of the questions that takes prospects down the desired path, and there are a whole lot more to turn them consistently into paying clients. If you click the link below, you can access my free entire sales script called Leasing Agent Pro.